Example 2 has a guitar 1 and a guitar 2, so let me demonstrate guitar 1 for you. Now I'll play guitar 2 over guitar 1 so you can hear the harmonies. Now this is pretty straightforward. All you got to remember is to use alternate picking, so you're dealing with these sextuplets. So make sure it's down, up, down, then up, down, up. That way you can get them really smooth. But I want to point out another thing about fingerings. You know, when I played guitar 2, I went... Notice how I switched right there. After I pull off the A to the G sharp, I switched over to my third finger. Now the reason behind that is there's a little gliss mark upward. Well, I want to slide up a whole step to get back into the E chord, the B. And you see how then my second finger is free to legato over, smoothly connect over to the E. Whereas if I'd use my second finger, I'd have to hop. Watch this. There's nothing wrong with that. I just like to have fingers free in advance. You know, if I'd also done it this way, if I use my second finger, I could use my first finger, then I go... But that, you have to do a position shift. Now, it's not that I can't do it, and I don't want to sound the wrong way about that, but I practice something as many different ways as possible. Then I'll usually zero in on a fingering that's as efficient as possible. Efficiency isn't necessarily comfortable, nor is it readily apparent. You have to search for these kind of fingerings. But, you know, after you've been playing a few years, you start to realize that as many different fingerings as you can come up with will really, that's a weird sentence, if you can come up with as many fingerings as possible, it's really going to help you because it'll help you come from different places and go to different places. And it just frees up your hand and your mind so you see the notes on the fingerboard. I preach that all the time in my lessons because I see that so commonly with students. They get locked into seeing something through a fingering. You know, so hopefully this gives you some insight as to how to look at fingerings. Always examine something and say, how else could I finger this? Then move it to different string groups and whatnot. And on this, you know, the thing on, if you're playing these double leads, you want to really lock in. And it's pretty easy when it's you playing it because you're going to play the same way. But even so, make sure your articulation's the same. Watch your string connection. You don't want to have a bleed over. And like on guitar 1, you know, you're jumping a few more strings. You go... So you've got to dampen. I'm always talking about damping. And you know why? Because it's critical. Work on this and clean your playing up.